Are you concerned with how you're going to get the sleep that you need to get during this holiday season? Because we all have shopping to do, we all have food to eat, we all have parties to go to, but we still need to be getting some sleep. So, how can we do that? And what happens if we don't get that sleep? I am Giovanna May Reese, and I am a mindfulness and self care advocate. And I help hardworking women regain their power by pausing for self care. And I have a very special guest, Dr. Robyn Scott, who is going to introduce herself and let us know how she can help us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Giovanna, for having me. Thank you so much. My background is I'm a clinical pharmacist. I've been a clinical pharmacist for over 20 years. And I grew up, and even into my, I would say, adolescence, 20s, 30s, I had great sleep. All of a sudden, I found myself going through a divorce, getting a new job, my dad passing away. It was like all of this stuff happened identical at the same time. And I found that that one place that I always knew I could go to kind of get rest and rejuvenate was gone. I had a really severe case of what they call stress-induced insomnia. And this was very difficult because sleep was always a treat for me. It was a treasure, it was a treat, it was where I could go escape. And all of a sudden, I had lost that ability due to all the stressors in life. And so, like most people, I just went to the regular, primary care practitioner to find out, what they could give me. Just give me a pill so I can get this over with and get back to sleep. And so, like most people, I took the pill. I found that I was really groggy with taking that. Not only I could get to sleep and some sleep, but it was a more of a disturbed sleep, dreams, kind of hyper excitable dreams I was having. And I would be groggy for days after taking just one of those. And so I really began to get really concerned about, the side effects of these particular medications. As a background as a pharmacist, I knew that these medications were meant to be like a bridge to help you get over a short-term issue of insomnia. They were really never approved for, years and months of usage. And so I really had to, I went back to the doctors, like, what can you help me with without the meds? Primarily, that's really what they have for you. And so I really had to do a deep dive and do some research to figure out what can I do so that I'm not dependent on any medication. I don't want to deal with the side effects of these, the long-term issues of it. What can I do to really get back to sleep? So I did a ton of research, just looking up what it is that really causes us to have bad sleep right now. So definitely addressing the stress is really major for me. And a lot, we live in a stressful world. It's just what it is right now. So really doing that research and coming up with a system of how to naturally get to sleep without using, really relying on the medications. And so I definitely developed that system after doing all the research. And now I'm sharing it with everyone else and how they too can get that sleep, fighting the stress. We got holidays and stuff coming up, really addressing that and getting the sleep we need and deserve.
Okay, yes. So I know, and you know, because we've talked before, I've had you on before. We have the same connection when comes to sleep. Like, I'm a lover of sleep, I'm a lover
Mhm.
of naps. And so, with it being the holiday season, and I know that people will skimp on sleep, I thought it was important to have you as a guest on again to get us back in order and let us know that we need to definitely get that sleep. So, can you talk about, for people who are busy during the holiday season, why is sleep still important to get? Because people may think, okay, it's, November, December, it's not forever. I just have to do without my sleep for these few weeks and then I'll get back on track. But what's the danger in losing sleep even during the holiday season?
Yeah, that's a real good question. So once we start a holiday season, I think of, here in the States, we're starting with like October with Halloween and
Mm,
tons of candy and, treats and goodies and so forth. And so what we see with the heightened increase in sugar, we have a decrease in our immunity. And this is also cough and cold season. And this last, we're seeing it about right now, flu season, even though that's not an official season, but in the medical world, we call it that.
Mhm.
And it's going to last through about March. So because of that, we're at more risk of catching colds, having sore throats, coughing, sneezing, all of these various symptoms. And the holiday season is definitely where this is heightened, more so than, that we see in spring or summer. So that's even more reason why we need our sleep. Our sleep actually while we're having that rest time, it's repairing our immune system. And our immune system is what's needed to fight off any viruses, bacteria, parasites, protozoa, all of the organisms that may be at, a heightened stage of attacking during this time of year. So we really need to get that sleep to make sure that we have a repaired immune system that's ready to really fight for us at any time. During this time of year, we tend to, we're gathering in more party situations, more crowd situations. That also puts us at risk for also getting more respiratory issues or coughs and colds. So we need that sleep really to keep ourselves at the maximum health level. A lot of people don't realize, and I think as we more and more that I'm sharing this with the world, that sleep is really one of the major foundations of health. We all know we need to eat well and, stay well hydrated, but getting good sleep really sets that foundation for really a good immune system during this time of year. So I always encourage people. I know you think, oh, I could just, skip on sleep during this time. This is really the time when you need it the most. So definitely no skipping on it. Prioritizing and making that really important in your life is serious. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about it like that because, this is the time where you are interacting with more people, you are going to parties, you're seeing family members, you're seeing,
Yes.
your elderly grandmother, uncle, and you
Mhm.
don't want to be, making yourself more susceptible to a cold or flu that you're passing on to the people that you care about. And so, in a way, sleep is not just protecting you, but it's also protecting other people by making sure that you're bolstering your immune system and not becoming sick. And so
Right.
the other thing that you mentioned sugar and how people
Mhm.
are doing all the sweets, all the goodies during the holiday season. How
Mhm.
does sleep affect the way that we experience hunger?
Yeah.
Does it
So
have
we
any
actually
effect?
can have, I've worked with clients and they see that they've kind of hit a stage in their weight loss where they're they've been making some momentum, but it seems to have slowed down. We always do a deep dive into their sleep. So you tend to be more hungry when you are more sleep deprived. And so that increase in hunger, even when your body really doesn't need the extra calories or so forth, it will actually set off a chain reaction, making you crave to eat more foods. They find that the most people who get that at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night are able to really, really achieve their weight loss goals and stay on that journey to maintain the weight as well. So that's another major one. And this is the time of year, like you said, we're at these parties, even if you're,
Food everywhere.
everywhere you go. Yeah, it's everywhere. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm right now in Brunei in Southeast Asia, and food is called Mockin, and the act of eating is Mockin. And so wherever you go, there is Mockin. And so if you are not getting sleep, I can see how, when you're at work and people are offering you Mockin, and it's, kind of frowned upon and a little rude to not take a little bit of it.
Yes.
If you're sleep deprived, and they love sweets here, there's always cakes and cookies
Always
and
treats.
sugary,
Yeah.
all the treats. And so, it'd be very easy to overindulge here, and then anywhere during the holiday season
Yes.
for sure. So that would be setting off that chain reaction that you talked about. So
Mhm.
what do you think are some boundaries that people could set around this, because it's difficult when someone has a nice tasty treat to be that
Yes.
person who's turning it away. And it's when there's a holiday celebration. I know for me, I'm normally in bed by 8.
Yes. We talked about that. I'm in bed too by that time. Yes.
And so people look at you like, what is wrong with you? So what are some boundaries that people like myself and like you can set so that, we don't come off as too strange?
Yes, yes, that's always a challenge, right? I don't want to be the weirdo in the group. So some of the things I do, like you said, it's, especially in certain cultures and basically everywhere, if there's a gathering and get together and you say, no, none for me, none for me, and that's really considered rude and disrespectful. So you want to keep in mind that you want to be respectful and not rude. So some of the things I like to do, like I went to a party this weekend and I knew there would be food. So I kind of tempered what I ate during the day so that I wouldn't, add on, overeat at the event. I ate lighter during the day. And so that's something you can do if you know there's going to be an event. Say, okay, I know I'm going to be really enjoying the food tonight. Go and enjoy and entreat yourself. Don't deprive yourself. But usually that day of, you can say, okay, I'm going to eat a little bit lighter today, maybe even a little bit lighter tomorrow to kind of temper the feast I'm going to enjoy tonight. So that's a really good boundary you could have for yourself. Just really, don't necessarily deprive yourself. Don't be disrespectful, but you're still watching, your diet the day of and the day after to kind of really kind of keep things in line.
So in a similar tone, when we're talking about sleep, would it work to, if you're going to go to an event later, would it work to temper that by taking a nap earlier in the day? How do naps play
Definitely.
into that, and do they even help?
Yes, I love naps. So some people are not nap people. But I feeling like a power nap, if done right, can be beneficial to mostly everyone.
How do
So
you
a
do it right?
power nap, huh?
How do you do it right? Tell me.
Yeah, because you can't do it too late. If you do a nap like around 5 o'clock p.m., even if you're feeling a little tired, you're going to disturb your evening sleep. So you need to have a window for nap time. So it should be anywhere from like 11:30 a.m. to about 1:30 p.m. So there's kind of a window for your nap time so that it doesn't disrupt your sleep at night. Another thing is depending on what you have it going on. If it's like a weekend and you can just kind of splurge a bit, you can take an hour nap, a 90-minute nap. But if you know you have somewhere to be and you need to really be on a more stricter schedule, I advocate for power nap. So that's anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. So you get a good power nap in, you set your alarm so that you don't, oversleep and so that you're not groggy afterwards. So that's basically for the things for a nap. I would emulate as much as possible evening conditions. I know it's difficult if the sun is out bright at 12 noon, but if you have blackout shades for your nap time, you can even do a nice sleep mask that'll cover your eyes. I even tell people to cover some of their third eye up here on their forehead because your skin itself is absorbing some of the light. So cover as much as your skin as possible in a dark, quiet setting. And that way you can get kind of a bit of a second wind so that you can go out and have a great time and that you won't overeat because you'll be rested as well.
Okay. So did you say the power nap? What is the time, like the least and the most amount of time that you could sleep
Yeah,
for it to be
about a
helpful?
20 to 30 minute is like the least.
Okay.
On weekends where you say, okay, I don't have a whole lot to do, I'm not strict, you can go to an hour or so. I can take usually about an hour to 90-minute nap if I know I don't have a lot going on. But if I have like an event I need to go to or so forth, or it's during the work week, I keep that a power nap so that way I can get back. Sometimes the longer naps can make you feel a little bit groggy afterwards.
Mhm.
Once again, if it's like a weekend and I'm just kind of chilling and I don't care if I'm a little groggy, that's fine. It's like I'm enjoying this grogginess. But if I know I need to get back on task with something, then I'm going to keep that to that 20 to 30-minute power nap range.
Okay, okay, okay. So for people who are feeling guilty about prioritizing sleep over finishing holiday tasks, maybe they didn't get all of their gift shopping done, or maybe they're cooking for one of the big family gatherings or some other social obligation. So what would you say to someone who feels guilty about that? And how can they maybe start setting boundaries in a small way around their sleep?
Yeah, that's a real good question. Because holidays, I think we feel a lot of pressure, especially the women of the family, to put on this
Mhm.
perfect holiday event. One of the first things, what I said in the beginning, that I need everyone to understand that sleep is a foundation to good health, and you need to get your sleep. And so a lot of people have this attitude, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or I'll sleep, in the afterlife, whatever. You may hasten bringing that on a lot earlier if you don't get your sleep. So once I able to work with clients and let them know that sleep is that foundation for health, and for it actually increases your longevity, the quality of health that you're going to have. That's really the foundation, that mindset of getting that in. Another one I would say, women, especially professional women, is letting go of that Superman mentality. I'm going to be Superwoman this Christmas. I'm going to decorate, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. I'm just going to do it all, and it's going to be brilliant. And I think our generation has gotten away from that, to trying to have the perfect
Mhm.
holiday celebration, and that we're 100% responsible. I think I would always encourage women, delegate to certain things, and there's certain things you don't have to have. Realize what that is, and say, listen, I have to have some rest also this holiday, so I'm going to delegate different activities. I'm going to hire some help to get some help. Some things don't need to be done. And I feel like I have that under control. I feel like I'm still working on that with my mother. She still wants the perfect holiday, and puts out all these little Santa Clauses and little trees. It's like, we don't need all that. I think for the most part, our generation is slowly really getting on board that we're going to release some of this. We don't need a lot of it. We're going to delegate, and we're going to value our self-care during this time of the year.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's so important. And I think that a lot more of us are kind of letting go of, feeling like we have to be superwoman. And, I think that if people would allow themselves, if they would pause and allow themselves the freedom of getting some good sleep, then they would never turn back. Because when you're used to doing all of the things, sometimes you can feel like you're being unproductive, right? If you're still in
Yes.
that mindset that you have to produce something, then if you're sleeping, then you're not being valuable. And so it's kind of all tied into that feeling of self-worth, and
Mhm.
knowing that you're valuable and you deserve to get rest that's going to give you
Yes.
longevity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the work that you do, because it's centered around self-care. And that, rest is a big part of that. It's one component, it's many other components, but really getting that self-care in, and really focusing on that, because we always hear we can't pour from an empty glass, or a half empty glass even.
Mhm.
So once we're fulfilled, everyone around us will be fulfilled. It's like a kind of a natural osmosis effect. But when we're empty, and trying to still fulfill everyone else, it just leaves us depleted, and exhausted, and really at risk for, diseases and sickness and ailments.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. And it's, with, radical self-care, you're taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your community and the people that you love, but you're
Right.
starting with yourself because you deserve care. You
Yes.
deserve care for no other reason than you exist.
Right. You
And
breathe and exist. Yes.
yes, yes, you are worthy. So, what
Mhm.
would you say to those people who are like, okay, Dr. Scott, okay, Giovanna, I know, I hear what you're saying, but I'm different. I'm one of those people who can survive on 4 hours of sleep a night. What do you
That's a
say to
good
that?
question. Because there's always people who think they're outliers, right? They're like, no, I'm a different person. Um, there are, we do have different chronotypes in the population where there are people who are actually natural night owls. And so someone could be different and say, you know what, I know you say I should, sleep between 10 and 6 a.m., but I'm up during that time and super productive. And so there are natural night owls in the population. And just really telling everyone to be authentic and honest with themselves of how much sleep that they truly need and what time. I also, when I'm working with people, really want them to be honest and authentic about what other symptoms or issues they're having in their life. If someone tells me, I do fine off of 4 or 5 hours, but they're really foggy mind a lot. They can't seem to remember things a lot. They're finding that depending on where they're at and, in our womanhood journey, whether they're, a new mom and they're exhausted, or they're going through, more of a middle age scenario where they're having extreme, menopause symptoms, that's not normal. And a lot of people are having issues with, I actually, did another live with someone where perimenopause seems to be a made up fake disease that didn't exist years ago. And once again, we look at how people are sleeping. When you are sleeping, you're regulating all of your hormones. So we talked about the hunger hormones earlier, but just not those, also your female hormones, your progesterone, your estrogen, even women, we have testosterone. So we're regulating those as you sleep. So usually when people come to me and say, I do fine off of 4 or 5 hours, when we do a deeper dive into some of the other symptoms they're having in their life, we see that they're really not doing fine. So I would tell that person, look at some of the other issues you're having. Are you finding that you're having issues with weight? Are you having, hormonal erratic fluctuations? Looking at, your memory. Are they able to remember things? Are they experiencing brain fog? What else is going on? And once we get to the bottom of the symptoms, then they kind of realize, oh, maybe I should get a little bit more sleep. Maybe this 4 or 5 hours isn't cutting it. And so that's what I would definitely tell someone, who would say that.
So as a woman, when you say that one of the signs that they're not getting quality sleep is hormonal change, what do some of those hormonal changes look like? What would they be looking for?
It depends on like where they're at in life, extreme issues with PMS. We all have seen women who, PMS will take them really out of commission to the fact where they can't function. They're just in bed for days at a time. A lot of those women are suffering from sleep deprivation as well. So that in that earlier stage of life, those women who are also maybe who have soonly delivered or have recently delivered within the past, 6 to 12 months can have heightened issues with definitely, depression and issues and emotional issues, mood disorders because of getting that lack of sleep. Further down in womanhood, women who are going through the later and midlife issues can have really exacerbated menopause and perimenopause issues. I know, I can remember my mother and her generation having really difficult menopause issues. And I asked them, I was like, why didn't you talk to your mother at the time, who was my grandmother? Those women just kind of stopped their period and kept on going. They didn't have all of the issues. Now, there's other things going on in life. My grandmother didn't drink a liter of Coca-Cola, for the week at McDonald's. So there's other issues as well, too, as to why, we're seeing really exacerbated issues with hormonal problems. So, the extreme night sweats, definitely the brain fog can be an issue of that. If it's been going on for long enough, which is a really vicious cycle, sleep deprivation can be caused by the hormonal, really irregulations. And then the hormonal regulations produces more sleep deprivation. So it gets to be like an endless cycle. So really getting on top of that as early as possible. And even if you are in the depths of it, it usually takes about 2 to 3 months to kind of get some regulation on top of that. So that's definitely something to look into.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. So for people who are wanting to maintain some semblance of their sleep schedule, can you suggest a holiday friendly kind of sleep ritual that could help them maintain some calm and get some good sleep?
Definitely. One of the scents we smell around holidays is like peppermint, and that's a soothing tea that can help people get to sleep at night. So that may be something that they'll enjoy. They'll have to watch. Don't add extra sugars and so forth to it, because that's going to hold defeat the purpose, get you hyped up before bed. So doing some things like that. I love like some of the different cinnamon scents and so forth. Some of those things can be kind of excitatory though. The cinnamon, the clove, the nutmeg. So be careful about enjoying those before bed. So having those in some of your morning treats can be great. I also like for holidays in general, and when life gets busy, I keep a calendar. In fact, I have my calendar right here and I schedule things. And I keep these things. It's really important to me because I heard a saying once, what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. Or just the opposite, what gets scheduled gets done.
Mhm.
So a lot of times what's really good about most of the holiday parties, we do have some type of at least a week in advance to know if we're going to be doing something. So definitely preparing that in advance, having a nighttime routine, say if I'm going to get back from a party around 10, knowing that I have my magnesium flakes ready for my bath, maybe a little bit of, holiday treat, like a little peppermint oil to put into the bath for soothing. So just really integrating some of the different scents and the flavors of the holiday into your bedtime routine. I do tell people, still be, cautious of the things that really keep us awake at night. Our grandmothers didn't have issues with insomnia because they didn't have they didn't have a cell phone at nighttime, their laptop, their tablet. And that blue light really inhibits our production of melatonin, which stops us from sleeping. So really still keeping in mind all the things that you would do all year round, but still adding some of that holiday flavor and fare can be fun to help really get this.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. One of the things that I do with my nighttime ritual is I do a little bit of gentle restorative yoga, or
Nice.
some yin yoga, and I also use the 5 minute journal. I'll link to that in the description, and I just reflect on what I was grateful for in the day. And then my husband and I, we have a nighttime routine. He likes to read to me. And so we pick out a
Oh,
book
that's so
that we want
sweet.
to go through. And so we talk about what went well in our day. We have kind of like a touch point where there's no distractions, where we talk
Yeah.
about what went well during the day. And then he'll read to me until I fall asleep.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. I love that tradition.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so that's kind of how we bring it down each night. So I think that
you
that's
brought up a
definitely
good point because that's a good way to kind of drift off to sleep. He's probably not reading any horror stories. He's reading calming, soothing things. And so that's a really good way to kind of just drift down into a great sleep. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So whatever works for you guys, you got to find something to kind of bring you down. And I'm working on, because I know that I've heard it's good for you to keep your phone on the other side of the room. And I
Yes.
haven't gotten there yet. It's on the nightstand right now, but I'm working my way up to leaving it on the other side of the room. So
Oh,
we're
good, good. That's
making
good. So you're on your
progress.
way. Yeah, I make
I'm
my son leave his, he has to leave his like outside of the room completely.
same, same. My
Yeah,
son does.
and that's really good for them, those teenagers. Our sons are about the same age, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they do not have good impulse control, so they
Mm-mm.
definitely need to leave it
That's a major
outside.
boundary. Yes, definitely.
Yes, yes, yes. So, can you talk about maybe one of your clients who you have helped with this issue and kind of the transformation that they went through from being sleep deprived to being well rested?
Yeah, yeah. I had a client, usually I help mostly women, but I had a man recently who definitely had that mindset that I can sleep when I'm dead. But he did reach out because he noticed that he was having these other symptoms that we were talking about. He was at risk for definitely having major heart cardiovascular issues. He had really high blood pressure, high cholesterol, issues with weight. So we just kind of looked at basically, first of all, really going over the mindset that this is a foundation for health. And so once he really got that understanding, we were able to really set a schedule for sleep. So that was major. Sleeping with it. I know a lot of people are guilty of this, having that television on when you're falling asleep. And that's really interrupted because that noise in the background while you're going through all your cycling of sleep is highly disruptive to your sleep cycles. And so sleeping as much as calm as possible. So we looked at the environment, first of all, getting blackout shades, looking at making sure that there wasn't a lot of noise. If there was noise, using earbuds, always encourage people, what's the comfort of your mattress feeling like? So they actually went out and looked at different mattresses that really felt, and they were really feeling the difference when they tried some of them in the store. They were like, wow, this feels really good. We spend so much time sleeping. We spend more money on our cars and so many other items that our mattress really needs to be a high priority in getting that good sleep.
Agreed.
So we looked at all of that, really getting the environment set up. So we did mindset, environment. Then we looked at really what activities we're doing through the day. Getting that early morning sunshine sets your circadian rhythm for the day. So luckily they had to get up at like 5 and be at work at 6 anyway. So it's like, make sure you're getting outside and getting that sunshine in. Watching, making sure you're changing your diet as much to whole foods diet. They really ate a lot of fast food on the go. So since they were really not much of a cook, I just encouraged, I said, purchase food from the grocery store that's kind of pre-prepared. Look at the ingredients. It's not as good as you cooking yourself, but it's better than, McDonald's and Wendy's all day long. So just changing the diet, we looked at that. And then we looked at like the really sleep hygiene things in the evening, having that 1 hour cutoff time for that blue light. We also went into that power down hour. So that was good when you talked about doing gentle yoga and stretching. I don't like people doing hardcore exercises in the evening. He was going to the gym in the evening because it raises your cortisol level. And now you're kind of hyped up and your adrenaline's up. So changing that to like when you were talking about more smoother, gentle, just stretching before evening time. They were a late night eater. So we had to kind of convert the food timing. If your body has to spend a lot of time actually digesting the food, you're not going to really be able to get to sleep well. So having at least a 3-hour cutoff for a big meal. You can have a small snack, and I always advise, people say, what size of the snack? It can be like the size of your hand, like this palm of your hand. And that's going to differ from person to person. If you're smaller, it's going to be a smaller amount. Bigger, you can have a little snack. I like grapes before bed. He was doing like a smoothie, like a nighttime smoothie before bed that had cherries in it because it helps you to get that rest. So we just did all of those basic things, a mindset, environment, and really going hard on that sleep hygiene for the evening. And finally, he was able to get that sleep he deserved, got that blood pressure down, stabilization of weight, and just feeling happier in life. Ultimately, I think as coaches, that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to get everyone just to, have a happier life and feel better about themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I like what you said about the television. It reminded me, I don't know where I heard this from, but years ago I heard that if you can, you should avoid having a television in your bedroom because, and really you should avoid doing non-sleep or adult activity related items.
Intimacy and sleep is really what the bedroom should be for. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So we don't have a TV in our bedroom for that reason. I haven't had a TV in my bedroom for probably like 2 decades because I try to keep my room just for
because it should be your sleep oasis, and that TV is so disruptive. Especially with all the stuff going on the planet right now, in the world, in the country, down the street in our city, we don't need that constant, being on edge and alert and raising our cortisol levels stressed out with that television in the room. So you're right, intimacy and definitely sleep. That's what our bedroom should be reserved for.
Yeah. So for people who are hosting someone in their home during the holidays, what should they do? Should they do anything different, or what can they do? Because, when you have someone staying in your house and you haven't seen them in a while, you're tempted to stay up, which, you know, you're going to probably do once, but if they're staying with you for a while over the
Mhm.
holidays, 2 weeks or something, and they don't have good sleep hygiene and they're wanting, what do you do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would, first of all, if someone is staying in my house, there's someone pretty close to me who knows, like you, I'm like in bed by 8 and probably knocked out by 9. So they kind of know that. So we'll probably have some days, like maybe on the weekend, where we'll really, we'll go out, we'll bypass that a bit, but they know that's kind of my core foundation. So no one, I would highly advocate, hopefully only people who are that close to you are actually staying with you, because that's a pretty, intimate thing where someone is really going to be staying with you. So preparing in advance, I would definitely get help. Don't stress yourself out and overwork yourself. I know a lot of us, who live, especially abroad overseas, in some places here in the US, we can find affordable help where someone's going to help us, straighten up the home beforehand, do any shopping beforehand. I see a lot of people just getting stressed out with prepping for people to come, just losing their mind. So get that help, and definitely, allocate different people in the family. Okay, son's going to do this, hubby's going to do this, daughter's going to do this, so that you aren't stuck doing everything, preparing for them, because that's just going to stress you out and cause you more issues with stress-induced insomnia. So that's first. Hopefully that person, you definitely, tell them, I do go to bed kind of early, but you're welcome. My house is your house. You make them feel welcome and at home. Have some, you can have, I've seen these, YouTube videos where people have activities for things, and people, things for them to do, and even recommendations for them to do. And then you have dedicated time with them. Where you say, I'm going to stay up a little late during this evening. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. So just really planning in advance, getting help, allocating other people to help you to get ready for them, and really having a clear, open communication. Boundaries is really all about communication. So communicating to them. Hopefully they're close enough. They don't think, oh, Robyn's being shysty with me when I'm coming to stay with her, or Giovanna's being funny. No, you know I go to bed at 8. You know that.
Yeah.
So
I'm laughing because my parents were here a few months ago, and it wasn't the holidays, but it was, they were here for a while, and they know I go to bed early. And so there were, a night or two where we stayed up, we, laughed, sang karaoke, did, but then there are other nights where it's like, okay,
that's it, y'all. Enjoy the evening. Here's the television, here's the remote. Here's the activities. I love y'all.
Everything. And I will see you in the morning. I love you, Mom and Dad. I will see you in the morning.
Yes.
So, Robyn, can you tell people how they can work with you? Because I know there are so many people out there who need your help because they do not have good sleep hygiene.
Yes. Well, I'm right here on YouTube, just like you are. My information is here below. Sleepwell RX, Robyn Scott, PharmD. That's my channel. And for your audience today, we have a free PDF that will really get them started, hopefully tonight, to getting that sleep they deserve. It's going to go over all the sleep hygiene for them, some tips they can take away, environment tips, mindset, and also give them some fun recipes where they can make some really delicious smoothies that are melatonin based. So they'll have grapes in them, blueberries in them. Cherries was one of my favorite things to help get to sleep. So some of those little recipes will be in there as well. So that's something they can take away today. And all my information is in the free PDF. And they also find me here on YouTube as well.
Okay, awesome. I will link to that in the description, and also in the corner, one of these corners, I'll put it in the video. If you would like, viewers, a meditation on setting boundaries. I release a meditation every week. Coming up shortly, I'm going to start releasing a yoga sequence once a week as well. But for right now, we've got some meditations, and there's one on boundaries. So check that out. Maybe before you are, or during your late night ritual, before you go to sleep, you can listen to the meditation to help you get into the mindset of setting boundaries for wherever you need to set boundaries in your life. And then I also have a 7-day email challenge that you can get to at this website right here. And you'll get an actionable strategy for 7 days to help you set boundaries. And that's completely free. So sign up for that if you're needing some support with your boundaries.
Yes.
Robyn, as always, it is a pleasure talking to you. Love talking about sleep. And I love hearing you talk details about why we need good sleep hygiene. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I love all you're doing. And you mentioned yoga because you're certified in yoga now. Isn't that right?
Yes. I have been certified in yoga, but you know how we are, recovering, do-it-all superwoman.
Yes. We're recovering now, still doing stuff. That's major to be able to guide people in yoga and for them to get your meditations. That's amazing. So that's a true treat. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a passion of mine. So I'm starting to do more and more of that on my channel because that is definitely my passion. So
yeah. Congratulations. I love it. So thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks.
Bye-bye.